Welcome to a special edition of Litter Media Live on this Thursday afternoon. We're still a while away from seeing these guys on a regular basis, but we're talking about the Scioto Society and Tecumseh. We have Brandon Smith with us, and we are getting ready for the 50th year of Tecumseh. We'll talk more about what they're going to do in just a moment right after this by the Ross Chillicothe Convention and Visitors Bureau. Brandon Smith, good to have you back. Good to see that that 50th season is about to be here.
It's before any of us know what's happening, it's going to be June.
Yeah, you're right. You've been in the middle of casting calls and everything right now, so you're not 100% ready to go yet in regards to having everyone lined up, but we do have some new people in different positions.
We do. I'm about 90% home, I'd say.
That's good.
So, which is pretty good for this point in the year. Yeah. We're always looking for people. You know, it seems right up to the time that we start putting the show together. So I feel good about where we are. We have our main roles are cast. I'll give you a little exclusive. Nate Reed, who was our understudy for Tecumseh last year, will be in the lead role this year. So we're super excited to have him back.
Oh, yeah. Jaime Pla was the Tecumseh last year. And it's good to be able to have somebody. We've seen this with Ryan Reed, was it a couple of years ago? Yeah. And Matt Nelson, of course, while they had the main role, it first was a backup role for them, wasn't it?
That's right. That's one of the great things I think about this company is that you can grow through, Matt Nelson, who I think he was 3 or maybe 4 years in the lead role. He started as just a company member with no lines. He supplemented his income by working maintenance crew for me, cleaning toilets. And, you can do that at this theater. And it also goes to show that I think, at least in some places, hard work still will eventually pay off.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to stick with it for three
or
4 years, right?
Took me 34, so.
Some people hit early, some people
That's
hit
right.
Early bloomers and late bloomers, This show, you've traveled through so much. I mean, you went in 2018, 2019, you had probably your biggest cast ever. And then the pandemic hit. Man, you had to go without a season. And that was like doomsday. But you have been risen from the dead, so to speak.
Yeah,
in that regard.
It was a great year last year.
Yeah.
In all aspects, artistically, financially, attendance was up. Everything kind of hit on the right cylinders last year. So that means that we can start building some things back in. So we're adding people back into the cast this year. I'm hiring a theater manager so that I don't have to work 20 hours a day.
Oh, my.
Excited about
You'll
that.
be available for a live shot on opening night.
I will. Yeah. So we're slowly building back up. Yeah. But not only were ticket sales great last year, but there was a considerable amount of grants that came through last year, and that has put us in a position to be able to not only build back up to where we were pre-pandemic, but to make a lot of improvements in the theater as well. So a lot of safety improvements in the theater, both on the public side and backstage. Both this year and next year, there's a couple of projects that are going to take a couple of years to get done. But it's all good stuff, especially for a facility that's 50 years old now.
Yeah. Talked to someone the other day. Never seen Tecumseh, been around forever. You got to go out and see it.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who live very close, Chillicothe and the surrounding areas, who have never seen Tecumseh. It's one of those things like when I lived in New York City, I never went to the Statue of Liberty or the Empire State Building until friends came to visit, right? And then you get to go be the tourist for the day. So it's kind of that. It's in your backyard. You think it's going to be there all the time. You can go whenever you want. Summers pass by quicker than any of us know how that happened. But this is going to be a great year to see the show.
Yeah. If you ever get around to Labor Day and you haven't seen Tecumseh yet, you just had an incomplete summer.
Yes.
I guess is one way of saying it.
Yes.
Opening day this year is when?
June 16th. So it's a Thursday night opening this year, which kind of just gives us an extra show. We used to do that as an invited dress rehearsal, but it'll be a ticketed opening night show this year. And then it runs through September the 4th, pretty much 6 nights a week.
Yeah. Will you have concerts again this year?
Yes. Super excited about that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a huge fan of music, big bluegrass fan. I think bluegrass on our stage is just a great match. Yeah. And so to be able to bring that back this year is really exciting to me. So the Steep Canyon Rangers, who were scheduled to be there in 2020, were able to make this new date. A lot of the folks who were performing before them were not able to make this date. So some of that has changed. But it's Jerry Salley, hometown favorite, and then Buffalo Wobbs and the Price Hill Hustle, who are a band out of Cincinnati. They're firecracker. Yeah. And I think, you know, they've performed in the bars around Chillicothe in the past. They've been around a long time, and they're really starting to get a larger audience, and they're playing big theaters now. And so I'm super excited that we were able to get them on this bill.
I know as Tecumseh has grown and evolved over the years in regards to the play itself, you've added things here and there, some Broadway shows and that sort of thing, plus, like you say, the Bluegrass concert series. The Bluegrass concert, this will all be one deal this year, or is it?
Yes, okay. It's all happening on one day. August the 7th is our date this year.
Okay. So, but do you have a Broadway or maybe even?
We're not doing a Broadway, but we are bringing Shakespeare back this year. Super happy about that as well. That's kind of a gift that we give the community every year. You have to have tickets for it, but it's free. So you just schedule your tickets, and that'll be the following weekend on the 14th of August. And this year we're doing Timon of Athens. One that you don't see very often. Yeah. But I told our director, Brent Gibbs, who's also directing Tecumseh, and I think he's 4 shows short of having directed every show in the Shakespeare canon. And he said, you know, the thing is that the 4 that I haven't done are the ones that nobody wants to see. Yeah. And I said, well, it's free. We can do whatever we want.
Right. Your own adaptation.
That's right.
With Brent coming back, will he want to, I'm sure his juices are flowing to add a little something extra as Tecumseh comes back on stage this year?
For sure. We're looking at a variety of things which are going to add some spice into the show. One of the big projects that we're working on is a sound project, so new speakers, all of that kind of stuff. But in addition to that, Michael Raspberry, who, if you remember Blue Jacket over in Xenia, he wrote their original soundtrack way back in the day. And Michael has worked for Under These Hills and The Lost Colony. He's kind of the outdoor sound guy. So he's worked, with Paul Pollard here in town. They designed a sound system. Paul's out there right now getting it installed. And then Michael is also doing remastering of all the music in the show and writing some new stuff as well.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So one more reason to get a new DVD.
That's right.
Or a CD
That's
of
right.
the
Yes.
music and all. This is 50 years. And I know at one point in time back in the 1980s, we didn't know if it was going to make it to 10 years. What a monumental effort it has taken. And you and your people, especially what you've ridden through the pandemic, kudos to you all. And I know you also reached out to the community, and they helped make it happen too.
Absolutely, and that has been the case since day one.
Yeah.
You look back at that list of original donors, which is hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands. I've never added it up, but it's a very long list of not only individuals but businesses, service organizations in town. Everybody has rallied around this show for a long time. And it truly is still there because the community demands that it's there.
I know that while Tecumseh, his story is told during this drama, you have been around so long now as a production, it's got its own history.
That's very true. And we're going to honor that this year in a very small way. We have a space right behind the box office that kind of traditionally has been a small museum that we put up in association with the Ohio Historical folks. That space is going to be a little different this year. So it's going to be a gallery space that has some things that you can buy in it, but it's also going to have a history of the show in there so that you can kind of go and see some of the original props, the original prompt book that Mel Cobb used in his first year with his handwritten notes in it. So I think that'll be fun. It'll be very small this year, but I have a feeling it's going to grow into something even bigger.
You mentioned with the new Tecumseh this year, do we know what number he is?
I don't, but I think it's like 18 or 19. It's not as many as you might think over 50 years. Yeah.
That's I think an incredible story in its own right.
It is. I mean, when I'm recruiting people to come and do this show, I try to lay it out for them. You're going to be living in the woods. Your cabin is not air conditioned. There are snakes. This is not an experience for everybody. But for some people, it really does speak to their heart and their soul. They come back year after year. Nobody's making a lot of money doing this. It truly is a labor of love. And you have people like, Raymond Speakman, who 40 some years, it has truly been his life. And for me as well, I left for a long time, but it'll be 10 years for me here in a year, I think.
Wow.
So
there's
something about it that pulls you in. Yeah.
It's that spirit that just gets a hold of you and just won't let go.
Yes.
And do you do a background check of these people to say, oh, okay, yeah, sure.
We don't believe in background checks in the world of theater, Dan.
If you're crazy enough to sleep in a cabin with snakes and everything else, you fit right in.
That's right.
Anything that we have missed here that you wanted people to know?
Well, we are going to do a Haunted Mountain again in the fall.
Good.
I can't tell you what it is yet because we don't know, but it's going to be something very different from anything that we've done before. And I got a great artistic team working on that, so we'll be excited to roll that out. Hopefully in June we'll be able to announce that.
Is the web address still tecumsehdrama.com?
It is,
okay.
Yes.
If you go to tecumsehdrama.com, you'll be able to get tickets for not only the show, but all the other events you'll be having.
Yep, everything's on sale right now. Oh, one other thing I did want to mention quickly is, we had been trying to find a way to involve the whole community in our 50th anniversary celebration. And we finally came down to, well, there's already a July 4th celebration happening. It's a great party. Rotary is involved with it this year. Adina Medical Center is very involved with it this year. So we've tailed on to that. So we're doing a big sponsorship. The fireworks display, I think, is going to be probably unlike anything Chillicothe has ever seen. They've raised a lot of money for it this year. Mm-hmm. We're going to have an event in the courtyard at the Majestic that afternoon that'll be free and open to the public. So July the 4th is shaping up to be a cool day downtown. And we hope a lot of people come and experience it.
Looking forward to it. Again, if you want to find out more details, tecumsehdrama.com is where you need to go. Follow them on Facebook as well. And, of course, we'll have more details here on Litter Media. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.
Sure thing. 50 years old, Brandon Smith.
Close.
The show.
It's getting there.
I'm closing on at 60. I know what you're talking about. Thanks for watching a special edition of Litter Media Live, brought to you by the Ross Chillicothe Convention and Visitors Bureau.